those challenges.
Right.
We're not going to get that television out of the kids' room.
Right.
And mentors shouldn't worry about it. There's other things you can spend your time on and be effective. That one's just going to drive you up the wall.
So then by focusing on the strengths, you can continue to build that, because clearly that does give them a foundation upon which they can build.
Exactly.
So I imagine that many of your mentors find this to be a growth opportunity over time as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of mentors say something along the lines of, I'm not sure what my mentee is getting out of this, but I've sure learned a lot. What I like to see is that often our mentors and our students come from very different parts of the community,
Sure.
different neighborhoods, different economic groups, different races, whatever it may be. And through our program, they have the opportunity to get to know one another, and their families become friends, and it builds a much tighter social fabric in our community. And I think that when you're learning about each other that way and building bonds across those lines of difference, everyone's benefiting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this is BJ Lawson, and we're taking the pulse of Blue Ribbon Mentor Advocate with Graig Meyer. And Graig, as we continue to think about the implications of what you're doing, how do you measure success? What do you track? What do you follow? What are the metrics that let you know that you're making a difference with the mentors and the mentees?
Well, I emphasize that we track the duration of the mentoring relationships, that we want to make sure all of our relationships last at least 2 years, and that as many of them last for the full 8 years that a student is in the program as we possibly can. That's our number one goal.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously, as a school program that starts kids early and works with them all the way through graduation. Fourth grade through 12th grade.
Wow.
We're also emphasizing graduation rates and post-secondary attendance rates. So to this date, we've had 6 classes of graduating students, and all but one of our students have graduated from high school.
Wow.
And out of all of those students who have graduated from high school, all of them have enrolled in post-secondary education of some type, either community college or a university program. And so there are other little things that we look at along the way to see whether our relationships are kind of having some of the impacts that you want mentoring relationships to have. We obviously do a little bit to track students' academic performance, but ultimately the big long-term outcomes are what's going to happen to this child when they're done in our school system.
Gotcha. So that's really amazing when you think about it. From my perspective, we're living in a world where we've got a dropout rate of 30+%, and you're saying that so far you've only lost one of the folks that you've graduated through the program, starting all the way from 4th grade.
Right.
That's pretty impressive.
Right.
Over how many years?
Well, the program started in 1995, and our first group of graduates was in 2003, so we've had 6 classes of students that have made it from 4th grade through high school graduation. And this year we had our first college graduate. She finished at Elon University, and she'll start as a biology teacher this fall.
And we had a good time.
Excellent.
But actually, the first outing that we had was actually right here to Maple View Farms.
Very cool. A little bit of ice cream. And you were in 4th grade at the time. It must seem like a long time ago. You've gotten a lot smarter over 3 years, I imagine.
Yep.
That is cool. And so now you're into Algebra 1. So are there subjects that you feel like Richard's been helpful with? Do you guys focus on academics at all? Or?
We focus on math.
Math? Excellent.
I'll also help you with your writing.
Yeah. It's kind of better than it has before. And he helped me. He came a little bit after the writing test in 4th grade.
Okay.
And I passed that one. And then this year I passed it again. And then my writing has gotten really better.
Excellent.
Sometimes he helped me with my cursive.
So have you gone through a couple of undergrade tests since you've been involved? I guess 4th grade, is 4th grade, they have one in 4th grade, right? And when's the next one after that?
5th. I'll wait till.
Oh, okay. So how do you think you're doing? You think you're doing a lot better?
Yeah. This year I got 5 more than I did last year on that.
Really? Sounds good. You gotta be pretty proud of it.
Yeah, I know. I'm very proud. You know, we spent a lot of time, going over practice problems sometimes and reviewing his homework. It's getting more and more complicated, so it's really kind of testing out the wheels, making sure I remember everything. It's not bad. So I'm proud. Sometimes when the report cards come, though, Jamison, could be a little better. But gotta play less video games, I think.
Yeah, that's a challenge too.
Too much ESPN.
Yeah. So Richard, are you involved? Do you go to school events and counseling, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So I've met his teachers. We do the parent. So I go with his mom, Janet, and we go to some parent-teacher conferences. And generally, James is very well behaved and well respected in his class. Just could be a little more studious with his homeworks, and turning in assignments on time. So I think if he improved on those two areas, I think you'd be able to get much higher grades. But I've seen him in the championship game of a basketball league.
Excellent.
So done a lot, and we've taken him to museums, movies. Sometimes I let him beat me in basketball. Sometimes. Yeah. But then we did some wind sprints and suicides, but then Jameson couldn't keep up. So what's up with that?
I was really tired that day.
Were you? I'm an old man though.
That was like last year.
Huh?
That was like last year.
Well, that's true.
I'm still trying to get in for football.
Okay. You're trying to get for football?
Yeah.
Okay. And also, do you get my postcards that I send you?
Yeah.
So I travel a lot for work, so I send some postcards of different places around the world. And Jameson has to try to identify the countries.
Excellent. That must feed into your favorite study being social studies now. Learning all about the places Richard gets to go.
Yeah.
Well, it's awful work though.
Yeah.
It goes all the way around the world.
Really?
Yeah.
So what countries?
He's gone to Australia. Are you going to South America?
If you don't remember all the postcards I send you, I'm not even going to send you any postcards anymore.
You've been to a lot of places, like a long time ago.
So have you traveled any yourself?
Now, just the United States.
Okay.
Travel down to Florida sometimes, in South Carolina.
Okay.
I'm actually going there next month.
Oh really? Where are you going to be?
And South Carolina, around the coast.
Excellent. That'll be fun. Trip
What
to
are you
the beach?
going to do down there?
Go to the beach. The week school starts.
Oh, okay. So just before school starts?
After like first week, we got that weekend.
Oh, okay. Cool. Just with your family? Nice. Sister going too?
I don't think so.
Just your mom?
Yeah.
Have you been on any of the trips with Blue Ribbon? I know they've gone to DC in the summertime and they had a trip to Ghana. Have you been on any of those trips? Not yet.
Those are the high school.
Right.
They're generally just reserved for that.
So Greg, you were talking about things that you do with your students and your mentors outside of school. Seems like you're even taking some pretty exotic field trips here.
Well, when our students get to high school, we have a leadership development program called the Blue Ribbon Youth Leadership Institute.
Okay.
And we try and teach the students the ethic of service leadership, and we get them to develop their leadership skills by doing service in the community. We also take them on trips. Every spring break, we take them on a trip somewhere outside of Chapel Hill to do a week of service. And last summer, we took an international service trip where we went to Ghana in West Africa. We took 15 students
Wow.
out of the country. We brought back some nice things from Africa
Amazing.
that the students had chosen, or that we had chosen. And we had students do a number of service projects there, but it was also just a chance for them to become world travelers and stop seeing themselves as just some kid from Chapel Hill or a kid who's always left behind when their peers are able to do amazing things, and give them the chance to travel abroad like so many other students from our community
That's
have.
an amazing trip. So how many students went on that trip?
We took 15 students.
Okay.
Most of them had never been out of the country before, and several of them had never flown on a plane before. But we got on the planes and took that long ride over to Africa and had a wonderful experience there.
That's great. That's quite a first flight.
Yeah.
It's funny how a lot of times we all run into the same problems, but it's only in having people we can talk to that we can share those experiences. 'Cause I don't feel that old, but it hasn't been that long since I was growing up and going through all the fun of being a teenager too. So. Who's going to teach you to drive, your mom or Richard?
I don't know. My mom probably. Ever since I've been driving with her, ever since I was little.
But your mom drives a stick though, doesn't she?
Yeah.
You have to learn. That's hard.
So,
I probably can't drive it, but she won't.
Oh really? Oh, I think you're a little young though. When you turn, you're not even 14 yet. So, still got a little while. Still a little while.
do you have any particular goals?